We've all had that friend that it felt like once she got into a relationship, you guys just lost her. No one ever talks about the discipline that goes into keeping to that boundary afterwards. I'm feeling depleted at the end of the day. I'm feeling used. There's the door. There's the door. Hi my darlings, and welcome to my channel. Today's video is a very special one and I'm so excited to be discussing this because I know it's something that's going to help a lot of you out there. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Sharon or Eno, whichever you feel like calling me, and this channel is all about helping you become the very best version of yourself. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, turn on your post notification bell as well so you can be notified every time I drop a new video. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. We've all had that friend that it felt like once she got into a relationship, you guys just lost her, because every day it's all about, we're gonna call him Dave. It's all about Dave. Oh my god, I want to go see Dave. Oh no, me and Dave have something planned this evening. It's always about Dave, right? When you love something, the natural thing to do is to spend time with that thing because you love it, because you're invested in it. So when spending time with yourself, the aim should be to know yourself, to know everything about yourself. An effective way to do this is by keeping a journal. Okay, so this is my 2019 or 2020 journal, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is a bunch of personal stuff. This is basically just me trying to figure out myself. At the center here, this pink bubble, it says who am I, and then here it says what are my passions, what are my strengths, my weaknesses, what are my priorities, what I don't like, what are my needs. Here says what is important to me, right? So everything I'm telling you to do in this video, I have taken the time to figure them out for myself. These are the things that I was passionate about back in 2020. And if you ask me for an updated version of this for the year 2022, I can give it to you. It's ready, okay? So take time to answer these questions about yourself. That is one of the most effective ways to truly fall in love with who you are and learn about yourself. So to break this, my last point down a little bit more, what I'm asking you to do is to spend time with yourself. How do you do that? You pick a day in the week and call it Sharon's day, for example, and then that day try and take out 1 hour of that day to spend time with yourself, to sit in solitude and in silence. I know it can be hard, especially if you're like a sanguine and you draw strength from being around other people. That is fine. There's no shame in that. Don't ever let anyone, shame you about being a people person, because that is where your strength lies. That is where your gifting lies, right? But in as much as you're a people person and you love being, around people, it's really important to still check back with yourself. Let's say you end up choosing Saturday to be your self-care day, right? Let's say you take out 10 minutes from that day or 1 hour. Now in that 1 hour, I need you to sit down with yourself and reflect on your life. I'm not saying reflect on all the miserable bad things that have happened, seemingly bad things that have happened to you. And what I mean by seemingly bad things is that we understand life in retrospect. So a lot of the times, the things that we consider bad, when we look back at them, they were actually necessary to bring us to wherever point we need to be in life. So for example, in my case, a lot of the things that I considered at that time that were bad things happening to me, I am so grateful for them today, because without them I would have never even began the process of healing and learning about myself. Take time, reflect on everything you have experienced in life, where you're coming from, where you are right now. I'm going to be giving you some important questions. So for example, I'm going to read them out to you since you can't see them. The first one here says, who am I? What are my 5-year goals? I saw a quote that says that we overestimate how much we can accomplish in 1 year, and then we underestimate how much we can accomplish in 5 years. 5 years. Okay, there's so many stories of people's lives that have been radically changed in just 5 years. So you need to have 5-year goal plans. Okay. So what things do I want? If you guys want all these questions, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to share these questions with you guys so that you can also start journaling and figuring out these really essential questions about yourself as well. Now, once you have, begun spending more time with yourself, figuring out all these things about yourself, I believe the next thing to get sorted out are your boundaries. I don't really like talking about boundaries because I feel like just the word alone makes people shift uncomfortably in their seats, because people don't like hearing about boundaries, and it's one of those things that are really essential in helping you love yourself more, especially if you are a people pleaser. I used to be a huge people pleaser. I say used to be as a positive confession because it's definitely something I am still working through. But if you're a people pleaser, the likelihood that you already have boundaries established for yourself right now is very low, because all your life you've been used to putting other people's needs above yours. And what this does in the long run is that it erodes your own sense of self-esteem and self-love and self-worth, because every day you're constantly giving of yourself to others, and there's not really enough room to pour back into yourself. So make sure you sit down with yourself and discover, what are my boundaries? What are my boundaries in life? What are my boundaries for how people can treat me? What are my boundaries for what I expect in a relationship? What are my boundaries for what someone can do to me and not do to me? Make sure you have these figured out before you get into another relationship, because if you don't, it's just going to be like repeating the same cycle. There's a quote that has stayed with me forever. First time I heard the quote was from my high school principal's wife. I think we're talking about cycles that day, and she mentioned how madness, craziness, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Honestly, think about it. You're doing the exact same things. You're letting the exact same toxic people into your life, into your space, into your mind, sometimes into your body, and then you're expecting your life to get better. You're doing the exact same patterns every day, staying on TikTok till 2 a.m. and sleeping in late and waking up late and not eating at the right times, and you're wondering why you are depressed and why you feel weak and why you feel angry all the time, but you keep doing the exact same things, So your why for having boundaries is whatever it is you're trying to protect. Boundaries are what you set up in order to protect something. A boundary is that you can't go any further. Why are you setting this boundary? What are you trying to protect? Is it your heart? Is it your mind? Is it your body? Is it your peace of mind? Figure out what is important to you, why it is important to you, and then create boundaries to protect it. So, an example, anyone who knows me by now, especially the guys, know that this is a boundary of mine, and that boundary is I do not receive calls past 11 p.m. What am I trying to protect? My sleep. I don't want anyone calling me by 1 a.m., 2 a.m. talking to me. Why? Why are you calling me at such an ungodly hour? What are you discussing with me? You have the whole day to call me, but no, you chose to wait to 12 a.m. to call me. Are you a bitch? Don't call me by 12 a.m. I'm sleeping. So my boundary is I do not accept calls past 11 p.m. My why is because I want to sleep. I don't want no booty calls. I don't want to fall in love with you. I saw this post that was like, it's 2 a.m. calls that cause people to fall in love. That's why I don't answer calls past 9 p.m. So that person's own boundary is 9 p.m. Mine is 11. I'm still very gracious with you. I'm trying to protect myself against booty calls against people who are not serious. Because if you are serious and you want to see me and you want to check up on me, you call at a more reasonable hour. So figure out what your boundary is, what you're trying to protect, and why. That is a way to set good boundaries and then stick to them. Now, I think people just talk about setting boundaries, but they always forget to talk about the next thing after you have set these boundaries, after you have made the decision that, okay, henceforth, this is how I'm going to be living my life. Because boundaries should form part of your lifestyle. No one ever talks about the discipline that goes into keeping to that boundary afterwards. That goes into choosing every day or every time you're faced with the opportunity to reinforce that boundary. So what happens when that guy you really like, that you gave your number to at the mall, but he didn't text you for like a whole week, and then he ends up calling you after a week by 2 a.m. in the morning after you have already made the boundary that 12 p.m. my phone is off, I'm not talking to anybody. What happens then? You really want to talk to him though. You've been waiting for his call though, and he's calling now, but it's 2 a.m. Will you honor your boundary, or will you honor your feelings? Will you honor your flesh in that moment that's like, just 5 minutes, pick it up, just say hello, tell him to call back another time. So after you create these boundaries, the process of reinforcing them is your sole responsibility, because people will try to push your buttons. So I remember when I started telling people about it, like whenever they call me late, I'll be like, oh no, I'm so sorry, I don't receive calls after 11 p.m. There was one time a guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but a guy called me by 10:58 p.m. knowing that I wasn't gonna be on the phone past 11. In my head I was like, wow. So my point is that people are going to try and push your boundaries. It's going to be up to you to be firm enough to consistently restate your boundary. It's going to be your sole responsibility to be consistent and honor your word and stick to your word, no matter how it is. Because if you cannot respect your own boundary, how do you expect other people to respect your boundary? And in turn, how do you expect them to respect you? Is it flowing? You get it? Okay. So that is the second thing, honestly, I believe that would help you in this journey. Learn your boundaries, learn the things that you accept, the things you do not accept, why you accept or not accept them, and then be consistent enough, respect yourself enough to show up for yourself every day, restating, reaffirming, reestablishing those boundaries. The next thing I want to be sharing with you guys is the importance of having standards. I am such a big fan of standards. I love the fact that you as a person can just decide, you know what, this is the quality of life I want for myself. This is it. This is what I want. And then you can not accept anything lower than that. I think it's so beautiful. It's one of my joys in life to be like, this is my standard and that's on period. And yeah. So what exactly are standards? Let's break it down a little bit. I feel like a lot of people, especially guys, when they hear this word standards, it's just this like sour taste it leaves into your mouth, and it makes me happy. It really makes me happy when I'm talking to somebody and then I'm like, oh no, I don't do that, or I don't accept anything lower than this, and you just see the kind of like disgust almost on their face. I'm always like, yes because these conversations need to be had more often. Sometimes I wonder at the bare minimum that women especially are willing to accept in relationships, because guys have standards. Honestly, they do. They freaking, even when it seems like they're settling, they're getting something out of it. They really are. They are. The only reason a guy will settle is because he knows that he has something to benefit from that. If not, he is not settling. But then they will be the same ones to clown you and guilt trip you out of your standards, because they know that it benefits them you not having standards. So what exactly are standards? A standard is basically a bar for how much you accept in life, how much you're willing to accept, like a bargain, right? So there are high standards and there are low standards. I don't think there's any in between. It's either you're high or you're low. I don't think there's any like medium standards. So for example, in relationships, I don't want to talk about romantic relationships because I feel like this is where the topic of standards always comes in, you know. And please have romantic standards for yourself. Like, definitely, I'm all for that. I have mine, have yours. But this video, we're going to be talking more of friendships, because there are a lot of people out there talking about romantic standards. However, if you want me to talk about this specifically, like how to have standard for your relationships and all that, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. If you request it, I will deliver. I always do. So yes, I feel like a lot of the times people are so quick to like declare what it is that what their standards are in relationships. You know, I can't date a guy that doesn't have 7 packs, or I can't date a guy that's not driving a Lamborghini. I can't settle for a guy that doesn't pay on the first dates, my ladies, you know. So you have all of that, but then when it comes to your friends and your businesses, your jobs, the standard that you have set for yourself is so low that you are actually miserable. So you go and you settle for friends that you know, this babe is not on my team 100. This babe, if I was going through hell and high water, she would be nowhere to be found. He will be nowhere to be found. But yet you stay. But the minute a guy dares to disrespectful, you're packing your bags. But meanwhile, you've been friends with your toxic bestie for 7 years and counting. I'm giving a little bit of tough love today, but bear with me. I still love you. You're my girl. You're my bestie. I just really am passionate about this topic because I don't think it's supposed to be that way. It really isn't. I feel like the standard, especially when it comes to how people can treat you, should apply in every area of your life. So in your romantic relationships, in your friendships, whatever. One of my standards is reciprocity. ¿Qué es la palabra que estoy buscando? Reciprocity, is that the word? Like give and take. I'm hoping this changes, because when I look at the love that God has for us, it's not like that. God's love is constantly given. So my point is that I believe that if I'm in a friendship with you, if I'm in a relationship with you, if I'm pouring into you, you should be pouring back to me, right? So if I'm constantly pouring into you and I'm not receiving anything in return, I'm feeling depleted at the end of the day, I'm feeling used, I'm using the door. There's the door.
There's the door. There's the door!
I'm out the door. I'm out the door. So whether that be in friendships, whether that be in relationships, whether that be in businesses, if I feel like my work is taking so much from me, all of that is not worth the salary I'm receiving at the end of the month. So your standards should apply, especially when they're not just like material things. When it's standards for how you want to be treated, when it's standards for how you want to feel in life, these should be consistent throughout your life. For me, being at peace is a standard. For me, being able to enjoy my own space is a standard. So anything that interrupts my peace, I don't care if it's a job, I don't care if it's a person, I don't care if it's man, I don't care if it's money, it's not worth it. Why? Because being at peace is my standard, is what I prioritize. Your standards are your priorities. So find out, what do you prioritize? I feel like I have said a lot in this video. This video is already super long, super long, and I have so much more to say. There's so much I can say about this topic. So let me know in the comment section down below what points resonated the most with you. If you need help on certain standards, certain boundaries, all of that good stuff, I can make a video addressing them specifically. So please let me know in the comment section down below. And I will see you in my next video. Till then, take care, my darlings.